Alrighty, everybody, welcome to another episode of the NerdCorp podcast. This is your one and only source for all things nerdy, whether it be video games, TV shows, comic books, whatever you need, we got your back. I'm your host as always. My name is Matt Hedrick, and here with me is my good friend Chad Porto. How's it going?
Yeah.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
So what are we talking about today, Matt?
Today we got some new updates about Super Nintendo World as far as what's going on in Florida. We got Rockstar is going to be they're claiming that we're ready to pay more for our games, which will be debatable. Apparently Diablo 2's got some stuff going on where they're going to allow you to use saves from years ago for your old games, and Hogwarts is going to let you pick multiple genders to play their new game. So I guess we could just jump in the first topic. Well, I don't know where you want to start. So,
well, we'll start with the first one that we have on screen, and that's the Nintendo World. Because this kind of surprised me. I didn't realize there was going to be a Nintendo World in Florida. And yet here it is, and now it's been delayed, and I feel like there's a reason for that.
yeah, that's the pandemic coming up, rearing its head. Put a pause on everything.
The pandemic delayed this by how long?
The original, at least, projected release was supposed to be 2023, and they're pushing it by 2 years.
I don't think that's all pandemic-based.
I don't honestly think it could be just for, what else could be possibly be taking 2 years to do it? That tells me that maybe, I don't even know if they even really started that much of it.
No, that would be Nintendo. They oftentimes luck into success.
I mean, they already have it. It's already ready to go and done in Japan.
Yup, because they know what they're doing in Japan.
This shit's been out since the end of or the middle of February. So.
Well, I don't think it's open
Florida's
yet in Japan. And if it is, it has only very limited guests at the moment, because they're taking the pandemic very seriously, unlike the state of Texas.
Isn't that what they call a soft opening type idea, where it's limiting the crowd?
Generally speaking, that's what it would be like for testing purposes. It's fully open, quote unquote. They're not testing anymore, but I do think they are still limiting on how many people they will allow in. So it's not technically a soft opening, but in theory, in terms of what you're talking about, yeah, you could technically say it's a soft opening. I only know what's going on there because the guy I watch, Only Japan, has been asked many, many times about if he's going to Nintendo World. And he's mentioned that it's not exactly the most accommodating place at the moment due to obvious reasons. So, will you go to Super Nintendo World or whatever it's called down in Florida?
Yeah, I've been to Universal before, and after hearing about this, I do want to go back and check it out when it's all finished. So yeah, I definitely want to check. I definitely want to see what the end result is. I even saw a preview video for when Shigeru Miyamoto took you around the park in Japan or whatever, and all the things he was showing and the things you can interact with. And I'm definitely excited to go see it. So for sure, I'll do it when it comes out.
I can't wait to Breath of the Wild. In a Nintendo theme park, just run your horse right into a fucking tree.
So far, the only two things I know that are themed in the park right now are Mario, and I believe Donkey Kong is getting his own set of stuff in the park.
So what I would do, because I'm a sociopath, I would make every attraction into a video game attraction. So if you're on Mario, you go to the Mario ride and you hop in your little box thingy, and you got to jump over little tiny Koopas. You can go down little tiny pipes, but the screen never moves back, and if you fall down, you die.
You are morbid.
Yep.
Fuck.
If you're on the Donkey Kong ride, you have to climb a series of chutes and ladders as barrels get flung at you by a giant gorilla.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Hey, I love the literal approach, man. I love it. It's
Yeah.
great.
Zelda, you gotta go into a dungeon, but don't worry, there aren't worms and snakes and stuff, just oblong-shaped dildos that they're gonna try to shove up into your orifices. It's a different type of dungeon, but I feel like it still translates.
Yeah, because we all know Nintendo to go that route when it comes to their approach to
I
designing
didn't say
games.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
I said if I was doing it.
I don't think they let you get away with it unless you like flat out had enough money to buy out the company.
Again, don't care. It'll just be fun to do. So, yeah, I don't know if this is going to work, but hey, whatever. Nintendo wants to be the Disney of video games. It's the one area Disney doesn't want to be in. So, like, there's room there, so I guess, why not?
I kind of want to check out the Mario Kart ride, honestly. That's like the big thing I know they're selling. It's like a 3D interactive thing, roller coaster. I kind of want to see that.
So wait, the one thing they could actually do with real people, actually just have a go-kart competition in Mario Kart themed go-karts. They're gonna just do it as a fucking Cruisin' USA game? Really?
That's what I don't like. If you're gonna seriously go all out with Mario Kart, it should be go-karts like it is like, the best I can say is like go to like a swings and things around here or something. Is like have that approach to it, number the carts, or have the different logos on the carts, and then you can just go around the park and just have it designed a certain way. But no, they got to have it on a set fucking path with 3D interactive glasses, pay a bunch of money for it. Okay.
Yep. Speaking of paying a bunch of money for things, video games have already become an expensive form of entertainment, and they're just going to get more expensive. And Rockstar is claiming that players are ready to start paying for $70 games. Now, to be fair, we used to pay for $80 games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about good ones.
No.
Hey, you wanna get Final Fantasy 2? Yeah, $80. You mean in 2021, right? No, I mean in 1994. Hey, do you guys like Super Metroid? Brand new. There's 1 million copies on the wall. Yeah, that'll be $79.99 retail. Why? I can beat it in 2 hours. Cause yeah, and you're just like, why is Pugsley's Quest $75 new?
Oh God. Oh, that one hurts. Oh.
I think it's Fester's Quest, but still. Hey, you guys want to play an off-brand Crash Bandicoot? Sure. What's his name? Bubsy. $79.99. Why? The era of $60 games has only really been the last 2 decades.
Yeah, didn't that start? Then that only started in like the 360 PS3 era, right?
No, PS2, PS1.
Okay. All right.
The 64, it was still charging some $70-odd for certain games. I remember, I think it was Revenge, at WWNW Revenge was retailing for $74.99 at one point. But then they had like that drastic price slash to where everything was $39.99, like all their big games were, because the 64 was a dead console. They're like, we need to sell games, damn it! We only made 30.
Gotta get them out fast. I still remember paying like at least $70 for Mario RPG. Yeah, and that was like in 90, 95, 96.
Yeah,
so yeah, that this shit isn't new. I don't know what people are like bitching and moaning about. Like 16-bit, oh, the prices are so much better. Not really.
No, not even a little. So the article states CEO of Take-Two, which is the parent company of Grand Theft Auto and whatever the developers, that the decision to charge $69.99 for the next-gen version of 2K21 was the correct one because the public was ready for a price increase. Speaking during the Morgan Stanley Technology, Medical, Media, and Telecom Conference this week, Take-Two boss Strauss Zelnick was asked for his view on the reaction to NBA 2K21's price point and what it means for games prices in the future. We announced a $70 price point for 2K21. Our view was that we're offering an array of extraordinary experiences lots of replayability, and the last time there was a frontline price increase in the U.S. was 2005, 2006, so we think consumers were ready for it. He did stop short, however, at suggesting that the future games will cost $70 going forward, instead suggesting that the company needs to focus on providing a level of content to justify that price point. You know, that's all himbly bimbly mumbly bumbly, but that's correct himbly bimbly mumbly bumbly. You don't want to say, oh yeah, you know, people are just stupid and will buy $70 games. But what you do is you say, people will pay for more if we give them more. Which, to be fair, is mumbly bumbly. But it's not incorrect. If you give me a lot of shit, I'll pay the extra money if I like what I'm getting. You know, I don't buy a lot of extras. You know, I'm the guy who waits 2 years to buy a game at all, you know, unless it's a sports game, because I would just be out of date. Because, like, I can get the Game of the Year Super Plus Ultra Edition for $30 new. Hell yeah, I don't need to be the first one to play it. I'll be the last one, and I'll enjoy it just as much. But I think it was Metal Gear Solid 4. It came out with, like, if you pre-ordered it from GameStop or whatever it was before GameStop, you could get 1, 2, and 3 on, it was basically PS2 for, I think it was like $25 altogether, and they were like a special collection trio. And then you get like a movie and like a poster, and you can do all that for, I think it was a total of $85, like counting the 3-pack bundle. You got the making of movie, the poster, and something else, and the games for like $80. 4 games for $80.
Damn.
Yeah, I'll pay extra. Plus, Metal Gear Solid 4 is my favorite
not?
game of the 4. I know that's a weird thing to say, but I loved it. It's so good. Fucking Raiden, guy, he's so cool. Just fucking shoving a sword through his foot. You got to fight in Metal Gear Rex. How is that not the best game ever? But, you know, like there's a precedent. You know, to each their own and all that goodness. But yeah, there's a precedent, and it's considering how expensive these consoles are getting. Yeah. You're going to need to pay more to make these games. That's just the reality of the situation. I understand it. That's why we've been advocating for retro games. Reduce the price by reducing the amount of money put into it. He goes on to say, we haven't said anything about our pricing of other titles so far, and we tend to make announcements on a title-by-title basis, but I think our view is always deliver more value than what we charge, make sure the consumer has the experience and the experience of paying for it. Both are positive experiences. We all know anecdotally that even if you love a consumer experience, if you feel you were overcharged for it, it ruins the experience. You don't want to have it again. Go to a great restraint, a really fine restaurant, have a great meal, and great service. Then you get the check. It's double what you think it should be. You're never going back. So we always want to make sure that our consumers feel more like we're delivering more than we ask in return, and that's true for our current consumer spending as well. We're an entertainment company. We're here to captivate and engage consumers, and if we do that, then monetization follows. Now, the only problem I have is yeah, you're $70, sure, but unless you get like a year subscription for free, I feel like you're not getting enough. Because a lot of these games now have, even if they're single-player games, like I just bought 2K21 because I told you last week about my issues with my hard drive and I needed to test a theory. Plus, I wanted to get 2K21, so I figured 2 birds, 1 stone. Spoiler, it loads, although it took 2 days for it to load, so I don't know if that's a sign of the game or my system, but either way, I'm playing it, so, you know, no issues. But, you know, that has a yearly subscription, I think, you know. Before they canceled it, WWE 2K had a yearly subscription. Like all these Fortnites and whatnot have a monthly or yearly subscription, depending on how you want to do it. If you buy a game and to play online, you need a subscription. I feel like if you're paying $70, it should come with the game. Now, I'm not saying forever, but specifically sports games, yeah, a year, easily. No, that's just my point.
Yeah, it should be no more than like $10. It should be no more than like $10 a year for like the subscription. That would make sense,
right? So like Grand Theft Auto never had a subscription service, at least one that you needed to have. So like everyone bought it. So it'll never. It's gonna get re-released on the PS5. Like it's never gonna be topped as the highest selling game of all time. Let's just be clear about that. But I feel like when you look at that model, those are the kind of games that I think you can get away with charging $70 for, because if you don't need to pay for online besides your subscription to PlayStation or Xbox or what have you, and you can play that game online, like it's literally infinite hours of gameplay. Like I only stopped playing it because I just couldn't afford shelling out like $8 a month or whatever it was for PlayStation Network Online. So, I don't know. This is not the biggest issue in gaming today. So,
no, it's not. I don't really personally feel that way either. I feel like as long as you're giving people justification as to why you're increasing the price and you're actually giving them something for it, I don't see a problem with jacking up the price. The only thing I see in the future is that a lot of these games that are going to try to go to that service route, upping that price by $10. A lot of those ideas might not be at the forefront so much anymore.
Well,
or at least they'll have to be tweaked and changed.
You also have to understand that a lot of those games for service kind of outlets, they're not going to be around for much longer. We've kind of proven that it's not a sustainable model unless you become a mega hit. And I don't see a lot of people getting to the place where you're the new Fortnite or PUBG. Like people don't even talk about PUBG anymore. Like that's how it is. So it would behoove many people to develop games that you can add on a service with, like Grand Theft Auto, and go that route. So you can have the single player experience, charge a fair nominal fee for a one-time purchase, and then, load up the back end with like, hey, do you want your pets to look like tigers? That'll be 50 cents. Or, hey, you want to take off the girl's clothes? 75 cents for the boob purchase.
Because if you look at it like, other than Fortnite, the rest of them are dropping like flies. Anthem is gone. What is Valve? Valve tried a card game that didn't work out. Avengers is on its last legs if it hasn't been there already. This shit's gone. It is on its way out. So this thing is gonna have to change.
Well, you also think about like games as a service going beyond into MMORPGs. They're not going anywhere. They're still running pretty hard. Star Trek Online just released a brand new class of ships to their gaming service, as well as a brand new story arc. DC Online has been around. Both those games, Star Trek Online and DC Online, have been around since 2010. And they've never been a they've never been a based service that has ever, this is the month that they're finally going to, sign off. Like, they've been making more than enough money to sustain the games. That's the way to go. Like, you don't even need to pay for DC Online. Maybe you still have to pay something for Star Trek Online, but, like, you can go and get DC Online for PS4 or PS5, or I don't know if it's out for PS5 yet, or your computer for free. And then you just kind of pay for certain upgrades as you go. I think you got to purchase some of the extra game modes, but that's like $5 a pop, so you don't really need to do it. And you can just play the game as is on your own. So, we still need an internet connection. But still, like, what I'm saying is, like, the whole PUBG Fortnite thing, it was a fad. We knew it was going to be a fad. We knew that it would burn itself out, and it did. And there's just not any money in it. So we'll see what happens with the gaming industry in the next year or two. It should be interesting. But with that being said, let's move on to Diablo. Apparently, you can use. I'm assuming, I'm not even going to read the article. I can just assume. If you're playing it on a computer, or if you have access to your old save files, you can use those for the new Diablo 2 Resurrected remake. I will say this: I don't understand the need for remake, considering the graphics don't look that much better.
No, not really. I was kind of thinking the same thing when I started seeing trailers for it, and I've played the game, and I don't have like the fondness, like such a fondness for it or anything, but in terms of MMOs, it was one I did invest some time in with friends and stuff like that.
I don't think Diablo 2
it wasn't enjoyable.
I don't think Diablo 2 classifies as an MMO.
Is it like what do you call that one then? Like a dungeon crawler type thing?
Yeah, I think dungeon crawler RPG. Because like Ultima Online would be considered an MMO because I've never played Diablo 2 beyond just the player-to-player interaction. I don't know if there's an online version, and if there is an online version, I don't know if you could have 30 people in a lobby, but that would be the quantification of it being an MMO. Like if you're just talking about being able to bring in like 2 or 3 friends for a 4-person limit, that's still not an MMO. But I don't know I don't know the full situation for Diablo 2's online play, but it's more of a RPG, so to speak.
Yeah, I think you're right though, because I don't remember ever playing more than like 2 or 3 people. Yeah. You know, like even with connecting to other people, it was only like you can only have 4 in a lobby, I believe. So I think it qualified more in the RPG category. But the idea of carrying saves I find interesting. I'm not sure how many people even are going to remember their like old passwords and stuff, unless, you know, that same name they've just tied to every account for every Blizzard thing they've played over time anyway. You know, their BattleNets or .net or whatever it was back then. If that still holds up, it'd be interesting to see, like, I'm just wondering how it's going to connect to your progression. You know, like, if you're already so far along, what would it really do for you? You know, like if you're already completing the game, wouldn't it just make more sense to just start a new file anyway?
Yeah, you know, that's certainly one point of view. But I think the other thing that kind of needs to be pointed out, this game, I don't think, if it's offering this, can really deter too far from the original format of the game. If you remake the game, usually what happens is like you get some extra levels or maybe some new secrets. But if you're able to upload and old save files into a new game, then I don't know if you can have those deviations in the new game if you're allowing save files from the original game, unless it's just stats. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
who knows? I don't know.
I mean, I liked it back in the day, but I've kind of like changed my preferences in gaming now, so I'm not sure if it's something I would even like want to dive into or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But with all these remasters coming out, I might give it a shot just to see if, you know, maybe some modern touches to it, like at least some tweaks to make it a little more accessible, could make it more fun to play. You know, I wouldn't mind giving it a shot nowadays.
I've never really been a big fan of Diablo, so I don't know if I would play it again. But, you know, the first one was kind of interesting. But that was also a different era with different expectations. You know, like before, like Diablo was the most violent game I ever played. And I remember like the second floor going down that you went to was like the butcher's lair or something like that. And that dude freaked the hell out of me. Now I'm like, oh, look at that fat bastard.
There's just no intimidation anymore, right?
Not really.
That intimidation just is dead.
Especially when you consider the idea that you know, like in games like Resident Evil 2, the remake, fucking Mr. X follows you around singing DMX all game. X gonna give it to you, gonna give it to you, X gonna give it to you. It's horrifying. I don't want that.
Wow. No, thank you.
No.
I'll pass.
No. None. Yet. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the Hogwarts thing. So apparently people are like, I don't know what her name is. I was going to call her Applegate, but that's the writer of the Animorphs books. J.K. Rowling's there. It's not K.A. Applegate. J.K. Rowling said some things people weren't happy about when it comes to transgenderism. In this article, you don't know what she says because they refuse to source it or put it in quotations or do anything of the source or of the like, other than just saying it was bad. I don't know.
Okay.
That doesn't. That you need context.
Yes, you do. You absolutely do. Yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of people are overly sensitive on both sides of the issue. So I'm always kind of just like, you're both stupid. Shut up. But on the other hand, I really just don't care enough about, you know, these types of problems for me to be like on either side of the line. But basically, J.K. Rowling said some things. People working on this game were super offended. Now they're going to allow you to make a male-looking character with a female voice. And I'm sitting here going, That's almost as dumb as spelling women with an X to be quote-unquote inclusive. So here's the thing I know about transgenderism. I don't know a lot, but I know something. I know something about everything.
Okay.
People don't want you to treat them as if they're not that gender. So, like, coming up with, like, women spelled instead of with an O, it's with an X, so you can be inclusive to the non-binary women or the transgendered. That's kind of counterproductive. These individuals aren't spending thousands of dollars on implants and surgeries so you can give them a different classification. That's like,
I heard there was like a different way to choose like babies too, or something like that. Like instead of identifying the gender at birth, you would like not do that and you would wait.
Yeah,
they were some weird name or
a
something.
5-year-old
can't.
a 5-year-old can't even pick out their own goddamn dinner. I'm not letting them pick what kind of genitals they got. I'm just saying.
No.
There are limitations to progressive ideologies. You're 18. You want to make that decision? Power to you. Go for it. You're 8. No. But when it comes to this,
too risky.
When it comes to this, it's kind of just that idea of stop treating them like they're different. That's kind of the problem they have. So like doing the whole, well, we're going to allow you to have a female-looking body with a male voice is like, that's again part of the problem. They want to be what they aren't. So why would you make them be something that, you know, like, come on. Like this is one of those where people in positions of power think the people they're helping are so poor and pathetic that they have to give them these crazy ass allowances. Oh, it's so hokey, and you can tell that these people, it's good intentions. Applause for that. But you can tell these people have no fucking clue what they're doing. You know, you could just let them pick their gender like they wanted to do all along. Damn, I don't know.
It is weird. It's a very weird approach. This I'm not gonna lie, and I kind of sit on the side of whatever you're born with, what you're born with, but that's a different argument for a different day. The main idea here is that you are right. The thing is you should be able to choose that on your own, and it almost feels like they're kind of forcing it on you, like forcing the option to exist. And that's not, you're missing the point, you know? Like, yes, if I identify as male, fine, pick male. Female, pick female. Whatever. But the middle ground option where you're not sure, that's the whole reason why this category of defining who you are exists. You aren't sure and you want to pick for yourself. So what are we doing?
So I found the quote that Rowling's made that pissed off a lot of people. And I'm of the mindset that think what you want. You know, it's free world. You can be, you know, whatever you want to be.
Of course.
And I'm not gonna fucking come at you if you say something that I disagree with, unless it's about sports, in which case I'll come at you like goddamn Voorhees out of the goddamn lake. Like it's not, you can't stop me. If you say Baker Mayfield's a terrible quarterback, I'm coming for you. Your takes on sports. It sucks.
You would do it wearing the hockey mask and wearing his jersey at the same time.
Yeah, probably. Although I'm not even that big of a Mayfield fan. But anyway, my problem is with people who antagonize and then go, but I'm the victim. If you slap me and I beat the shit out of you, you're not the victim. You got reciprocity all over your face. You gave me $1 and I gave you back some change in the form of knuckles. So I don't like when people say shit to antagonize people and then go, why are you so mad?
Is it that whole, like, you know, if you don't want to be able to deal with something, don't say it, or something like that? Is there a phrase for that?
Or in the words of the old school hip hop community, you don't want some. Or, God damn it, Matt. See, you ruined me with your lameness. Don't start none. There won't be none. That's what you're looking for.
My lameness, Jesus Christ! You're quoting hip hop and I'm lame, really?
How is quoting hip hop lame? Especially classic hip hop. What? Go listen to your Nintendo beats, you dork. Do.
Hey,
That's favorite song.
Don't act ignorant. Act like I don't know anything about music. Okay.
I'm not saying you're ignorant.
I'm not aware of it.
I'm not saying you don't know anything. I'm just saying what you like sucks. There's a difference.
I like hip hop just fine, and I like old school stuff just fine. I'm just saying, like, your approach to it was just as dorky and like different as me.
No, it wasn't. But I appreciate the fact that you don't know that. So here's what the antagonist J.K. Rowling says. And yes, I am an antagonist. That's why I know what my own is.
You also know that you're an ass, but you're fine with it. That's okay.
Yeah, there are things I'm willing to change about myself and things I don't need to change. Telling people off when they say things that annoy me. I'm never changing that. Not with how
that was the case, man. I tell you off all the time.
Not with how scared, or I shouldn't say scared. Not with how fake a lot of people are with social media, and they'll say a lot of dumb shit. You know, when they're behind a keyboard, but when they're face to face with somebody, they won't say anything. So yeah, I will because I'm consistent. I'm like Midal. I always work. So here's what J.K. Rowling said. If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, that lived reality of women globally is released. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. The idea that women like me who've been empathetic to trans people for decades, feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, i.e. to male violence, quotation, hate trans people because they think sex is real and has lived in consequences, is a nonsense. This woman wrote books for a living and can't write coherent sentences. I think that right there may be a point of his issue.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Clearly, someone over at the publishing company was the one doing all the fine tweaking to Harry Potter and the Goblet of whatever.
Azkaban, who knows?
Goblets. Gobbles.
Gobbles.
So, this is some of the most redundant nonsense I've ever read. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's true. All I know is, if you know people are going to attack you for it, why would you lob the grenade? Why? I don't know. It feels like you're actively looking for a fight. Here's the thing about society. We ebb and flow. I've mentioned this a dozen times on all the shows. We ebb and flow. In the 50s, we were very conservative. In the 60s, we were very liberal. In the 70s, we were very angry at the government. In the 80s, we loved the government. In the 90s, we went super extreme. In the early 2000s, we went even more extreme. And then the early 2011s, 2010s, what would they be if those were the odds? Octeens?
The teens, that's what I would say.
During the octeens, we got super conservative and liberal at the same time. We were liberally conservative. We couldn't say the wrong things, but we were progressing ideologies. It's a weirdness that I do not understand because it's literally it's the what's the word I'm thinking of? It is the global warming of political ideologies. It's the polar flips of political ideology. We've swapped the concepts of what conservative and liberal mean.
To me, it feels like consistently living your life in a gray area.
No. 20 years ago, liberals were the ones that were swearing and cussing, and you can't tell me what not to do. And now, 20 years later, that's what the conservatives are doing. 20 years ago, the conservatives were like, oh, we don't like your outlandish behavior, and how dare you criticize a sitting elected official? Do you know how hard we work to maintain this government? Now, 20 years later, it's like, you're all lying. We're going to burn it to the ground and restart with Uncle Jimbo Bob's Pig Farm down in Louisiana. Woo-wee! That really hurt my throat.
It wasn't bad, though. It was a good impression, man.
Thank you.
It was worth the effort.
That's why I stopped doing my Donald Duck. I used to be able to do it. I see I can't now. He's gone.
I could do Donald Duck. I just can't form any coherent fucking words.
See, I can't.
I can do a little bit.
That was actually kind of impressive. You didn't suck at something for once in your life. Congratulations. You can now retire. Because it's all downhill from here, baby.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
Yep, see, there it is. You ruined it. You tried to go Mickey and you ruined it.
I know. I was trying to. I could do it better. I know I can. I'm just not going to try again.
Don't. Just take the L. I used to be able to do a few. Oh, Jesus. That doesn't even sound like Mickey. It just sounds like you, but in an alternate reality where you wear fuchsia and your partner's name is Mitch.
Mitch. That's an interesting choice.
You guys watch The Golden Girls every night. Thank you for being a friend. So, I used to be able to do some voices.
Down the road and back again.
I hate that song so goddamn much. I hate that show so goddamn much. Anyway, so yeah, I used to be able to do some voices, and I don't remember what they were. I used to be able to do Stitch pretty well.
Stitch is a hard one, man. You really got to throw it for that.
Yeah. Used to be able to do another one, but I can't remember what it was.
I mean, I would try Stitch for you, but based on my failure as Mickey, I ain't doing it.
I think I could still pull off my Macho Man, but I don't want to right now.
That would hurt your throat even more, though, wouldn't it? Because that's real raspy.
Only for prolonged periods of time. I can do the Ultimate Warrior snarl.
What the fuck was that?
That's the Ultimate Warrior snarl. Rip open
that was his
the
cockpit
door. Hogan. Take the pilot out of the seat. Hogan. Push the plane into a nosedive. Hogan. Then you will be near parts unknown.
I think my favorite part of that whole thing is like emphasizing the fucking name every time.
That is the best part.
Oh, yeah, we're going to take the plane into a nosedive, and then I'm going to drop the elbow on you from parts unknown. Then you're going to know what...
I see, I lost it.
Damn.
Like, it's when I'm doing non-guttural, that's when I'm losing it, but
when I hit the accent...
That's when you can feel it. Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's podcast time.
Oh, dude, goddamn it! Now you're doing cool runs. I hate you.
All right. Speaking of hate, J.K. Rowling, stop being a bitch. I don't care if you disagree with transgenderism. I don't care if you agree with it. Being an antagonist is being a dick.
All you're doing it for, obviously, is just attention. That's all it's for.
Social media is a mistake. I don't need to know fucking terrible fantasy writers' opinions on politics. I don't even want to know politicians' opinions on politics because most of them are fucking idiots.
That might be quite frank.
Kind of lost you there, Matt. What did you say?
I said it might quite frankly be the best thing you've ever said to me.
Yeah. I mean, most politicians aren't politicians anymore. They're just people that... Hell, one of them is Tommy Tuberville. He used to be a fucking football coach in the SEC, and he wasn't even a very good one. Yeah. One of them was a wrestling coach up in Ohio State and apparently turned a blind eye to sexual assault.
Lovely.
Yeah. Kind of terrible people. So anyway, let's talk about YouTube because I added a new show to my list. Although it kind of annoys me at times when she gets like super socially and justicey or what's the word I'm looking for? Politically correct.
Social justice warrior thing, that thing.
Politically correct is the word I was looking for, and that's why I said it.
I thought you were looking for another term.
Nope. All right. Political correctness. She's very political correctness, and when she goes politically correct, I just roll my eyes with haughty derision. But I will say she does a great job doing content, and frankly, I love the shit she watches and talks about. It all started when I saw a video that she did called Beyond Belief, the bonkers show behind the hilarious meme of, I can't remember his actual name. He's William Riker on Star Trek. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Jonathan Frakes, that's what it is, Jonathan Frakes. So I watched that because, I run a Star Trek website, and anything involving Star Trek is good content to use. So I saw Frakes, and I thought, hey, maybe I can make this into an article. I couldn't. But I liked it, so I watched more. And apparently she did an entire series, and she's still doing it, called Murder, She Wrote. Not called Murder, She Wrote. It's called, like, Last Time on Murder, She Wrote. And she just reviews random episodes of Murder, She Wrote. I never realized how crazy that show actually was. Like, there's dead bodies in every episode. There's people who are trying to fuck in every episode. And then there's Angela Lansbury just going, how can I use a murder mystery I wrote to solve this crime when all the cops can't? And I'm just sitting here going, yeah, nope, that makes sense. It's very much like Monk or Castle or Psych before those shows, where non-police people were solving crimes. Although I think Monk was a detective. I think he was a private detective. I never watched Monk.
Yeah, he was.
That should never appeal to me. But like Castle, they use a fiction writer or a horror writer or whatever to solve. I think it was Castle. I don't know. Nathan Fillion. They use a writer solving crimes. Literally Murder, She Wrote. So like she did a bunch of those. She has also reviewed like classic kid horror shows like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark. And those are pretty fun to watch, and like it's been an interesting little run. Her name is Pushing Up Roses, because her name is Rose, and Pushing Up Daisies. Like she's very much a fan of the macabre and the horror centric stuff. Like most of the games she's reviewed or stuff she's reviewed has like a horror theme to them. But then she also reviews Golden Girls, Murder, She Wrote. Apparently she was reviewing Hallmark movies at one point, but I didn't watch any of those. Clarissa Explains It All. So, if that kind of stuff appeals to you, this is definitely a show that I think people might enjoy on YouTube. It's called Pushing Up Roses.
Sounds amazing, man. Sounds like at least some of that shit is definitely stuff I watch. Like, I wonder if she reviewed the new Are You Afraid of the Dark stuff.
Maybe. She's also reviewed a bunch of games too. So, like the Untitled Goose Game. Or a bunch of Goosebumps games. They're all like the terrible like FMV games that she's reviewed, but still, they're cheeky.
Those are the best ones to review, though, because there's a lot more to say about that stuff other than the stock crap you get nowadays.
So there was a review of Are You Afraid of the Dark, where the kid moves into a new house and the basement's alive and he has to like feed the basement thing souls.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I don't, but I watched it and I watched a review, and there's this great part where the main character is riding his bike and he's about to crash into the bully, and she made a Megadeth joke earlier in the episode, and the lead singer of Megadeth is Dave Mustaine. So like the guy's riding his little bike and he's about to crash into the bully, and the bully looks like Dave Mustaine. So she screams out, "Ah, Dave Mustaine!" And the kid falls over, and I'm just like, I don't know why, but that was the funniest shit ever. I sent it to my friend online. I'm like, this. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I think people might enjoy checking it out. She's got a decent size like list. It's not like I'm bringing huge gobs of people here. Like she's already got more than we'll have. So, it is what it is. So, let's see what else. What did you watch on YouTube this week?
I'll go through the rundown here real quick. I would say one of the ones that the usual ones that stick out the most are like Stop Skeletons from Fighting. Watching Derek talk about video game keyboards, I found that to be rather interesting because the only keyboard I was ever aware of was the one for the Dreamcast for like typing of the dead, because I always remember that was a thing. I had no idea Pokemon had like a keyboard, unless he's done in another peripheral video or something. I don't remember that one at all. but as usual, it's highly entertaining stuff. And even though I don't have any interest in Pokemon, him saying that keyboard for Pokemon works for anything, like at least any connected device, that's an interesting thing to try out. He's always piquing my interest with this stuff, and that's why I love his content. SNES Drunk did a couple videos on the best arcade games for SNES ports. I thought that was a cool little video. And then Sega CD Games, and I've never been a big fan of the Sega CD. I really never was. I only played like maybe ever like 3 games on it in total, and most of them you can get on the Xbox One or anything through downloads today. So it's not really worth going back to that system. But there's some stuff on there I thought was cool. Let's see what else. Friday Night Arcade did he did a review on like one of these old adventure games that got a remaster called Hero U, and that was on for Switch. The one I like though is his retrospective on the one of Konami's like early peripherals for the NES, the laser scope thing. It came with a game called Laser Invasion, and it was interesting how it had like these different mechanics to it. It wasn't just the Top Gun like or shooter. It was like there was side-scrolling aspects to it. There was first-person aspects. It was pretty ambitious for its time, and so I really dug the fact that he took a deeper dive into that. And his content, he's very like his sense of humor is very like dad jokey type. So it's like you're not always gonna laugh at everything, but the information is on point and the videos are relatively short. So he is good at what he does. Let's see. Other than that, I would have to say probably my favorite video of the week. This is probably not. There's two I had that are my favorites this week. Dr. Mike took a look at some of the medical scenes from South Park. I thought those were extremely funny, and he took the obvious hits at like the misinformation and Cartman's kidney thing and the ethics of that. And it was fun. It was a good time. And then of course the last one was the true standout, was Amanda the Jedi's look at the book 365 Days, because every time she had a comment about something, I was laughing my fucking ass off. Every time, especially like because the whole book was like literally like abuse or physical abuse the entire time, and I'm like, dear God, especially when she just flat out blurts out, hey, 911, yeah, everything right here. That was my favorite line of the whole video. So yeah, other than that, I would say those are my big highlights from the week.
So I've been watching a lot of Peacock Networks, and I'm through 8 seasons of 2.5 Men. I don't get it. I don't know why that
8
show.
8 seasons?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know why that show became a hit. I really don't. Like beyond, because I was watching it for scientific reasons. Half naked women.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was about to say, yeah. What?
Yeah. Scientific reasons. And beyond that, like
study anatomy, I guess.
Yeah. Or you could just let me have my joke. I don't see why it's funny. Now, it's by the same dude that created the Big Bang Theory, and I love the Big Bang Theory. At least the first 5 or 6 seasons. When they started adding all the spouses into it, it really dragged down a lot of the comedy. There's just a point in time when you go, the show is peaked, and I won't watch Big Bang Theory past like season 6 or 7 anymore. But with Chuck Lorre is the guy who did both shows. With 2.5 Men, it just, what was the point? Like they constantly set up ideas and never pay them off, and it's really, really dumb. Like, I just got done with this whole fucking story arc about Charlie about to get married, and then we he sees her on her birthday and gives her like this expensive necklace, and I'm 4 seasons past the end of that was the end of season 7 was her getting this expensive necklace. He gets arrested for a DWI, and I'm 4 episodes into season 8 and nothing about it. And it's not the first time. It's not the last time where character arcs or ideas have been left dangling. So I don't get this show. I may not stick around much once Ashton Kutcher comes aboard after he replaces Charlie, but I don't know.
Because I bottomed out at like 4 seasons.
Yeah, I don't
honestly, because like it got to the point where, see, this show is one of those products of it's very lazy writing, and a lot of recycling of a storyline. So when you say stuff like that, I'm in full agreement, because an arc will come and it will go, and then all of a sudden it comes back again. You're like, well, where the fuck were we last time? Why didn't that get resolved? And then, but you got to remember, this is just stupid comedy for the sake of it being stupid comedy.
Well, saying like that's not entirely true, because it gives you the hope, because there's recurring jokes. Yeah, and that's the sign of a good callback. You also have references to past episodes, which is a sign that they're respecting continuity. So it's not like a I Love Lucy, where every episode's just brand new and that nothing else that happened the week before matters. But they don't do enough, and especially in season 6 or 7 or both, they did this terrible thing where they would have a gag go on for 6 minutes. Like, oh, God. They would be sitting on the couch, and for the sake of argument, I would bring up, why do dogs hump legs? And then that conversation would then meander for 6 minutes. And nothing happens. So yeah, it's bad. It's not a good show.
I think my biggest issue too is that there was a lot of guest stars on there, and you were wasting their ability to be funny, when I clearly know that they've been funny before in many other things.
Yeah, that's part of it. All right, so other things I've been watching. Some Black Guy, that's the name of the YouTube channel. I'm not being racist. He did a collab with a guy who I don't know anything about. It's a metal version. His name is John. Derek Blackman is Some Black Guy, and he did a duet with Jonathan Young in a metal version of "Tearing Up My Heart," which was actually really solid. So if you like dumb pop songs being remade with a harder edge, then, there's that.
I am intrigued by that concept.
It's pretty nice. Let's see. I had another one. I actually had 2 more. But now I can't seem to find them. Kalu Kalay. Is it above that? Truck Culture did a video on the big celebrity names that they would want to see be cast as a rebooted version of The Next Generation. Spoiler alert, Tom Hardy is cast as Picard. If you've ever watched Star Trek Nemesis, you know why that's a spoiler alert, because he was Picard, technically, as a clone. But the rest I won't spoil. But it's fantasy booking. Like, it'll never happen, because the names are too big. Guys like Christopher Pine and Zachary Quinto and Zoe Saldana weren't huge stars when Star Trek 09 came out. So the idea of getting big names to do this reboot, if it does happen, which I don't know if it will, just doesn't make any sense. So, it is what it is. Let's see. Besides the ones you mentioned, I don't think there's anything else that I thought was a good enough mention for the show. Let's see.
I did catch a few things on streaming myself, if you want to know anything.
Not really, but you can tell people if you want.
Okay, Dick. I did finally finish up the rest of the Animaniac series. I watched about half of the episodes, and then I left it for a while. I didn't really finish up the rest of it, and dude, the rest of the first season is amazing. What they are able to do is incredible, and especially with the Halloween episode, that is my downright absolute favorite of the series.
I didn't know they did a Halloween episode, because I haven't finished it yet, so now I have a reason to go and check it out.
Yeah, totally worth it. I kind of hoping that that with season 2, maybe they try to in some capacities bring some of the other characters back to add some variety to the parodies and stuff. I mean, I dig me some Piggy in the Brain and everything, man, but I need some little more variety than that. And the Warners are always good too, but a little bit more would be nice. But it's still good. The one thing I was actually fully disappointed with, and I've talked about this in the past, was I've been talking about watching WandaVision and everything, and I had that preconceived notion that I was afraid the show wasn't going to stick the landing for me. I was always having that fear in the back of my mind, And as it turns out, that fear came true, because the episode, while it satisfied a lot of people, for me, I'm kind of like, you guys did lazy writing across the board. Nothing about this shit added up. You did it everything for sake of convenience, and everybody's just, bye, we're all gone. Now series is over. Like, okay, but where the fuck was any of the resolution? Like, you just left shit in the air for, and sucks. And then the last thing I watched is actually, it's interesting. I didn't even know it was a thing until I saw it on like Nintendo Life. Crackle released a series about the Nintendo playing with power, the Nintendo story, the history of how Nintendo came to be and everything. And it's basically a lot of the stuff I already know, but there are some parts that I still find like ironic, and like how they portray the things today, like the whole their beginnings with the lawsuit with Universal, and now how they're making a theme park at Universal is a little ironic. How they actually got Sony to start making the PlayStation out of a bad deal. I always found that to be an interesting story. I've also talked about this guy in the past, the creator of the Intellivision Amico, the Tomitalarico, how he told there's a lot of things he was telling about his development and stuff with Nintendo, and how Nintendo got pissed at him because he took one of the development kits that you weren't supposed to take with you when he finished Earthworm Jim. So he's hugging it, going, "You're not taking this from me ever, because this thing's sacred to me, man." And he was also one of the first people to get some kind of working prototype for the Nintendo PlayStation to create one of his games. They were one of the companies, I believe he was working for Virgin at that time, that they were asked to work on a prototype for what games could be on that system or whatever. But once that fell through, he started trying to making the demo discs. That's the next job he got hired for after that. So it's a good watch. I'm about three episodes in. It's a 5-part miniseries. And yeah, all you gotta do is download Crackle to watch. You don't need a subscription or anything like that. It's free service. So if you have any interest in this kind of stuff, I'd say watch it.
Well, there you go. That's it. That's the end of the show. We got nothing else for you. RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. We're on Twitter at NerdCorp. We're on Instagram at RealNerdCorp. You can find Matt on Twitter where?
At MNerdCorp, same handle on Twitch.
You can also find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. Be sure to check out the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/ the Real Nerdcorp. There it is, RealNerdCorp. YouTube.com by searching Real Nerdcorp, as well as the website realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com. For Matt, I'm Chad. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. Matthew, take us home.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.